Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So we've been keeping up with the divorce between Kim and Croy, but we all kind of forgot about the divorce going on between Eva Marcille and Michael Sterling. Now, it was discovered in March of this year that Eva filed for divorce from her husband of 4 years, citing what all celebrities cite, and that's irreconcilable differences. Now, recently, Michael demanded that the divorce proceedings be dismissed, but they are still ongoing. Now, one thing we didn't know is what happened between these two. You know, they seemed happy, the children seemed happy, but you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So I'm up this morning doing my regular celebrity sweep and decided to see how the divorce proceedings were going. Baby, I see Michael is embroiled in several lawsuits, and it looked like Eva may have been trying to jump ship before the ship decided to sink. Michael was arrested for a DUI, which, according to the lawsuit, caused damages to someone else's car, caused that car to hit the wall, and the two people that were in the car are claiming that they've lost income, enjoyment of life. They now have medical bills, attorney fees, and so much more. We are going to get into that, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. So on March 23rd, 2023, the Real Housewives of Atlanta alumni Eva Marcille decided to call it quits from her husband and filed for divorce. She cited irreconcilable differences. According to People magazine, she stated that this has been one of the hardest decisions I have ever had to make, but sometimes life takes you in a direction you were not expecting. Our children remain our biggest priority, and the 8.5 years we've spent together will always be cherished. We ask that you respect our privacy at this time. Now, on March 29th, 6 days after the divorce was announced, Michael Sterling spoke to the Jasmine Brand website in a statement, and he said, "I am not going to lose my wife. I am going to fight for her with every fiber of my being. I love her, and I plan to show her how much I love her and that our love is strong enough to get to the other side." Now, prior to getting the love to the other side, Eva was busy outside. February 20th, she went to Milan, Italy for Fashion Week, where she stayed for the entire week. Then she went to Paris, France, where she stayed for another week. I think Eva knew the end of the marriage was near and decided to have some time to herself set aside before abandoning ship. Now, why would one want to abandon ship? Well, we can't say for sure, but looking at the things Michael had coming his way, Eva seemed to want to dodge a bullet. Michael is currently involved in court proceedings revolving around an accident that happened February 4th, 2022. On March 22nd, 2023, just one day before Eva filed for divorce, Michael received a calendar notice from the state versus Michael Todd Sterling, giving him until April 26th to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Now, either sis has very impeccable timing or she decided to leave the ship before it sank. Now, according to reports, defendant Sterling was operating a 2011 Ford Mustang GT in the adjacent lane to plaintiff northbound on Georgia 400 in Sandy Springs, Fulton County, Georgia, when he suddenly and without warning negligently, carelessly, and unlawfully operated said vehicle by driving under the influence of alcohol, driving recklessly, and following too closely, slamming directly into the rear of plaintiff's vehicle, causing it to spin out of control until it collided with the concrete median on the right side of the road. As a result of the collision, plaintiffs were hurt and suffered multiple injuries. Now, according to the incident report, the police officer says this: "As I pulled up behind the Mustang, I saw a male offender, Michael Sterling, standing behind it. I made contact with him and immediately smelled the strong odor of an alcoholic beverage about his person. I asked Sterling if he was injured and he said no. I asked him what happened tonight and he said he didn't know. He said that he was going too fast to keep from hitting the other vehicle. He said that the vehicle came over to his lane and he hit it. I looked at the damage to the Mustang and saw that the damage was to the passenger side front. Sterling was wearing a mask, but as he spoke to me, I could smell the odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from his breath. I also observed that his eyes were red and glassy. I asked Sterling where he was coming from tonight, and he said his office on Memorial Drive. He said that he was a lawyer. I asked him what time he got off from work tonight, and he said that being a lawyer, he never gets off. I asked him what time did he have his last drink, and he said about 4 or 5. I asked Sterling if he thought that alcohol played a factor in the crash tonight, and he said no. I asked Sterling if he would submit submit to some voluntary field sobriety evaluations, and he said no. I asked him why not, and he just replied, because I am an attorney. The Mustang was not drivable at all, and I went ahead and called for a tow to respond to and remove the vehicle. I was waiting for a tow to respond and for Officer Dennington to make contact with the other driver before continuing my crash investigation. Officer Dennington had an extended ETA to the crash. I walked back up to Sterling and tried to ask him some more questions about the crash, but he was now not wanting to talk to me about it. He had apparently called his friend and his wife, and they arrived shortly thereafter. At that time, based on the fact that Sterling was driving and involved in an accident, his physical manifestations, and my training and experience as a DUI officer, in my opinion, Sterling was under the influence of alcohol to the extent to make him a less safe driver. I told Sterling he was being placed under arrest for DUI and handcuffed him with his arms behind his back. I placed him in the back seat of my patrol vehicle, which has a safety partition separating the front seat from the back seat. I read him the Georgia Implied Consent Notice for drivers over 21 and requested a blood test. Sterling verbally refused to submit to the blood test. I then spoke to the male who had pulled up and to Sterling's wife. I told her that her husband was under arrest tonight. I let her speak to him briefly, and then they left. The Mustang was impounded to a tow. Officer Dennington was finally able to make contact with the occupants of the Toyota Camry. Cody Clark was driving, and Lauren Hammett was the front seat passenger. They told Officer Dennington that they was driving north in the number 2 lane. They saw the Mustang come to them so fast, and then the Mustang struck the rear of the Toyota. The impact caused Clark to lose control of the vehicle and spin. The Toyota then struck the concrete wall on the right. Because of the vehicle crash, I had to first take Sterling to Northwest Hospital for medical clearance. Once he was cleared, I transported Sterling to the snoring jail and turned him over to jail personnel. He was charged with following too closely, reckless driving, and DUI, alcohol less safe. He was given a court date of June 1st, 2022. So I just wanted to let you know that Michael did enter a plea of not guilty on April 26, 2023. And just to let you know, he is presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. So that's the case of the state of Georgia versus Michael Todd Sterling. But the 2 others involved in the alleged accident started their own lawsuit as well on May 23, 2023, citing suffering of significant injuries, medical expenses, and damages. And they're saying that these damages caused emotional distress, personal inconvenience, mental and physical pain and suffering, lost wages, loss of enjoyment of life due to the violence of the collision and injuries of the plaintiff's bodies, plus an inability to live a normal life. Now, the medical expenses so far are in excess of $2,000, but the final amount will be determined. They also won an uncapped amount of punitive damages. Being that they went after Michael's expenses like that, I'm sure they would have come after Eva's as well had she not been going through the divorce with him. Eva has children, a brand, and money to protect. So Michael may have even told her, go ahead through the divorce to go ahead and protect your assets. I'll take this. They might get back together later. Maybe that's why we're not hearing much about this divorce. Who knows? What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with Michael Todd Sterling, this DUI case, and Eva all of a sudden filing for divorce right when everything starts to get bad? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.